Hello and welcome to another episode of Roommates Review. I'm your roommate Liam.
And I'm your roommate, Evan.
Today,
I
am
the
largest
peanut
in
my
butt.
and we are reviewing Ant-Man.
Starring Paul Rudd. Or is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Dang it, I was gonna do the Bugs Life bit. Dang it.
Alright,
let's start over.
Let's start over. Okay.
Wait, how are we starting?
From where?
Hello,
and welcome to another episode of Roommates Review. I am your roommate Liam.
And I'm reviewing A Bug's Life by
M. Night Shyamalan.
the
Largest
peanut
in
my
mouth.
starring
Ants.
by
Paul Rudd.
I think it's Woody Allen.
Yes.
Alright, so anyway, you guys remember the movie Ant-Man by Paul Rudd? Well, we are reviewing it, and Liam brought up a point, which I noticed as well, and we talked about it a little bit during the movie, of Paul Rudd is the main character, but not the main focus.
But he's not the focus. It's not about Paul Rudd at all.
They try to, begin the movie and end the movie like it is about him, but it's not. It's all about Hank Pym and his relationship with his daughter.
Yeah.
Which is not that great, that story, and because it all happens so quick.
Yeah, it's basically
so fast.
The exposition between Hank and his daughter, and then Paul Rudd standing there and making a comment at the end of every conversation.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know. I didn't think about that the first time I watched it, but
it's a lot more clear the second time.
Yeah, just like there are long stretches of time where you know that Paul Rudd is standing there and just listening to conversations.
Yeah, the camera's not even on him.
It's not on him, yeah. He's just there. He's just also in the room. For no reason. He doesn't add any substance, because he's literally just the comic relief. He's somehow his own side character in the movie, which is really, really bizarre. I didn't think about it in that way.
Like, he doesn't really get fleshed out either. They talk briefly about why he went to prison. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a little man fighting the corporations. He has a daughter. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and they specifically mention and specifically show that he had a master's in electrical engineering, which is different than electronic engineering, but that's what it seemed to imply. So, he's able to work with electronics and knows them really well. But, after, I don't know, the first 30 minutes of the movie, that never comes into play.
Yeah, it doesn't really come up
again.
He breaks a bunch of electronic stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
It would have been really cool if, when he got into places, he then used his knowledge of electricity to control things or disrupt things. But no, he just kicks it. He just kind of destroys it like he's the Hulk or something.
Yeah.
Inside. So I don't know. I don't
understand. I would have preferred if he used his master's in electrical engineering to become Jamie Foxx in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And just become electricity.
Yeah.
And becomes blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he plays the Itsy Bitsy Spider on some electrical pylons.
And he plays what's his name? Ray Charles in the Ray Charles movie.
Yeah.
I think they should have we're gonna get to this section of it early. Who should have replaced Ray Charles in the Ray Charles movie? And I think it should have been Paul Rudd. Can you imagine?
Was Ray Charles in the Ray Charles movie?
No,
I don't think so.
It was Jamie Foxx. But he does such a good job, I didn't notice.
Oh, you didn't realize.
I didn't realize that he wasn't
You were
blind.
so sucked into the
Yeah,
fiction.
yeah. I was like, whoa!
Mhm.
Once I realized that was Jamie Foxx and not
I think
an
it should have
actual
been
blind
Stevie
dude.
Wonder to
Stevie
replace him.
Wonder playing as Ray
Yeah.
Charles.
That's what I think.
That would have been good. Yeah. What were we talking about right before that? Oh, we were talking about how it doesn't come into play that he's an electrical engineer, but it really easily could have.
Easily.
Like, it was all the setup was there for it, but no. Here's what I want to assert. I think that the movie is really, really good right up until the moment that the Ant-Man part of it exists.
Yeah.
Right up until the moment that he finds the Ant-Man suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it's still about Paul Rudd, you mean?
Yeah, when it's about Paul Rudd. Yeah, when it's like, it actually is.
When it's about Paul Rudd, the side characters feel like side characters.
Yeah, they feel good.
Whenever I can't remember the actor's name. The Hispanic guy.
Luis is his character.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name
I
either.
can't remember. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's really great in everything he's in.
He's really funny.
But his character, he's really funny. The side characters they're kind of whatever, but they work.
They work off of Paul Rudd being basically a straight man, which he's only that for the beginning of the movie, and then he goes into goof mode, goofo mode, is what we're gonna be calling it now.
Goofo mode, yes.
Yeah. So like it's really good when they do the heist and all that before. I love the bit, and they do it again at the end of Luis telling the story and all the people in the story talking like he is. That is hilarious and fantastic.
The way they emote while they're just lip syncing his lines are incredible.
That's so good. Such a genius idea.
It's hilarious. Edgar Wright was not the director, but he did some parts of the movie, and the
story was by him.
Those particular parts felt like more of an Edgar Wright had a bit of a touch in them.
Yeah, that's what. I
can only imagine the movie would be a lot better if it was directed by Edgar Wright.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Actually, there'd be I can think of so many cool things with that, but it's.
I would say objectively Edgar Wright's a great director, but we're also pretty biased because we both love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah, and he does a really good job. And what I've seen, I don't know if I've actually watched any of his other movies.
Hot Fuzz is great. Shaun of the Dead is great.
Yeah. But
Baby Driver was pretty good.
Things I've seen from his movies though are always very, very good, and they're always highly praised. But what I was saying, I really like the way they emote with him, and they're doing that whole bit, and it's like you actually have really clear and defined characters pretty early on, and you feel like you can build something out of it. But then as soon as they throw Hank Pym into the mix and the whole Ant-Man situation, it just goes downhill, which is weird. That's not how it should be at all. The Ant-Man should be the shining part of it. It shouldn't be like, I wish he was back to just being a heisty boy. Because when he does the heist, he does pretty cool stuff. He leaps the wall and he climbs up the side of the house and he gets in there and does the electrical stuff. And like he uses his intelligence to break the safe. Does he ever do anything even close to that level?
No.
Once he's Ant-Man? No, he's just tiny.
Just tiny, a little bit of slapstick humor, and that's pretty much it.
It's like he picks Scott Lang for a purpose, which we'll get into because it's really dumb. So he picks him for a purpose because he's a master thief. He's like, he breaks the unbreakable code. Does that ever come up?
Doesn't come into play.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't come into play at all.
He could literally
with
get
Yellow
anybody
Jacket.
because they just get to shrink.
Yeah, that's all it is. The pivotal moment where there's the laser thing to get inside of the case to get the Yellow Jacket thing. Oh, my computer's acting up. Hold on.
The only The only electrical stuff you see Scott doing after the break-in is during the 2-hour-long montage when he's fiddling with the suit to no end.
Yeah.
There's multiple shots in the montage where he's playing with the suit, and eventually Hank walks in and says, "Don't mess with the subatomic regulator," and he says, "Oh, okay."
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
that's it.
And then he stops touching it.
Like,
because
it's just for foreshadowing.
yeah, it is. But anyway, I want to get into what I was saying though. He tries to get through the laser gate, and that just happens by chance from his other hacker friend.
Yep.
Is how they get it through. So it has nothing to do with him or being a master thief at all. He comes up with the idea to come through the water, but that's it. That's all he does.
Right.
So it doesn't show him good at thinking quickly on his feet, like it does when he robs the mansion immediately. And even that is kind of taken away from, I guess, because for some reason, Hank Pym knows. Yeah, he orchestrated the whole event. He knew that if he told one person, that person would tell another person, that would tell another person, would tell Louise about a job. And then as soon as Scott got out of prison, he knew that Louise would tell Scott about the job, and Scott would do it. And then he does do it. And then he's like, and I knew the whole time. He knows all about his whole family and his whole life.
And they justify it because they say, Hank says, I've been watching you for a long time now. Ever since you did that original heist that put you in prison. So I guess he's just been obsessing over Scott for years.
You say that, but I have the theory that there are hundreds like Scott out there. And he set up 100 plans for master thieves to come in, and that's the only one that worked.
No.
Because it makes sense.
Paul Rudd is special.
I think that he was just giving out information to everyone, and then he was studying all of the master thieves that exist and were in prison and knew when they were going to get out. And why didn't he just I don't know. I don't understand. I
think Paul Rudd is fun. But at the same time, he's such an everyman. He seems to naturally fade into the background, and that's why the scenes with Hank and his daughter, there's just it feels like Paul Rudd just falls into his natural state.
Well, I think Paul Rudd is such a good comedian, and this role is not really.
It's not a comic role.
It's not really. Yeah, it's a lead man role. It's not really just the comedian part of it.
Right. And it works all right in, say, Civil War and stuff where,
it works well.
Where he's not the main character.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That's all right. That makes sense. But two movies, we haven't seen the second one yet.
Neither one of us has seen it.
2 movies where he's the main character. It's just,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It doesn't work. I don't get it. And, it's just weird because it's like the movie wants you also to think that Hank Pym is the main character, because it's more about him, sort of, but he's not the leading man exactly. It's just very strange. And it's not smooth in that way.
Yeah, the movie moves along at a breakneck pace.
Oh yeah, it does.
It's
he goes from
80% exposition.
Yeah, he's in jail, then he's doesn't want to do the heist. That he's at Baskin Robbins. He's not at Baskin Robbins, and he's doing the heist, and then he gets caught by Hank Pym, and then he's just goes and he puts the Ant-Man suit on, and then he's like, I'm gonna take the suit back, and then he gets arrested, and then Hank Pym takes him out of jail, and then he wakes up in Hank Pym's house, and then Hank Pym trains him how to be Ant-Man, and then they go to the Avengers place, and then immediately go and do the thing at the Cross Tech.
Sometimes
boom, 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 boom.
It's okay to have a movie move quickly and it feels right and it works. Other times, it just feels awkward and that there should be more downtime.
The problem with this movie is that what they were doing during that quick time, and they were trying to get an emotional reaction out of you and trying to have emotional depth between Hank Pym and his daughter, but they're doing it so insanely fast that you don't feel anything at all. You don't Not a
Well,
bit.
and it's self-sabotaging because everything moves so quickly. Like, they imply that there's been animosity between them for at least 20 some odd years.
Right.
And because she says her mother died when she was 7, it's 2 weeks her father didn't talk to her or whatever, then sent her to boarding school. So she's hated him for a long time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they have one quick chat and they're cool. They're totally fine. And then there's like maybe a scene where there's moving on.
Well, here's the thing. Paul Rudd talks to her and says, hey, you realize he's using me because I'm expendable and you're not. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh,
yeah.
Finally.
Also, she hated Scott, thought he was a complete idiot. Eventually started treating him like a human being, and then they're making out at the end of the movie and they're in love or something.
It's just insane.
Just out of the blue.
Everything.
Like, everyone's cool and hunky-dory and reconciled and just peaches and cream.
It's a blink and you miss it kind of movie. Just with everything that happens in it. Insanely fast. The Darren Cross, the villain, goes from good boy, you think. You're just like, oh, he's a guy. And then he just murderer.
Yeah.
Instantly. Which I want to talk about.
Yeah, it's, no pun intended, it's comical how nutty and evil, quote unquote, he is. Because all of a sudden, he just melts a guy who says, I don't know, I have some questions about this. Like, you're right, we should talk. Blah.
Yeah.
Like,
you are dead now.
Why? What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I also don't get... He's so obsessed with being able to shrink and he's being the Ant-Man that he's blinded by the fact that he creates...
Blinded to the fact.
Yes. Blinded to the fact that he creates a death ray where he can instantly kill people and leave no trace.
Yeah, turn them into jelly.
Turn them into jelly and there is no trace of them. Mm-hmm. He just wipes that guy up. No one seems to care. It doesn't show him hiding that in any way.
No.
There's maybe it also is like a plot thing that happens, like a universal plot thing, where you shoot someone and there are no consequences for it.
Right.
Because he does. He just kills that guy. There's no consequences. He doesn't have to tell anybody he did it or anything. He's not questioned by the police, who are also terrible in this movie. They're so weird that the two cops in this movie, they're just like running around in circles. He invented a death ray. Why didn't he sell that to people? It'd be like, oh, this instantly kills any organic material. Yeah. Instantly. Yeah, in the form of a gun. I will sell this to you.
Yeah, the whole concept is just dumb.
Yeah. Dumb and not in a good way.
No, yeah, it's just poorly planned, poorly written.
Poorly thought out.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really dumb movie in a bad way, not in a good way.
Like the ant things, they don't always look bad. The CGI is kind of iffy in a lot of parts of the movie, and ants are just kind of lame.
Yeah, they are really lame.
So there's so much in the movie focused to ants and how he can control ants and stuff, and I'm just thinking, I don't care.
No, yeah, I really wish they would have leaned more into the fact of that only Hank Pym thinks it's cool to be controlling ants like that. That would have been good. Like, he's just super obsessed with ants. Like, why ants? Why not anything else?
Maybe if it had made him like more of a cuckoo, kind of weird old man.
Yeah,
all right,
that would have been good. Yeah,
that.
But yeah, he just and they just kind of completely glance over that he has the technology to speak to ants. It's like, oh, he's a scientist.
Yeah, it's casual.
It's like, what? He's a scientist who's specifically doing the shrinking thing, and he just can also talk to ants with his mind. Not even like speak to them in like some sort of translation or whatever. He just speaks to them with his mind and like can mind control ants. I don't understand.
He's the professor. He's the Charles Xavier of ants.
Yeah, and if they wanted to like go into depth into it and kind of explain it, that would make more sense. But they don't at all. There's like, he controls ants. Why ants? Because he controls them. That's why.
Because, yeah, why
ants
not?
can lift 50 times their weight, so why not? Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. He's Ant-Man.
Yeah, so what else would he do? Stupid.
Idiot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's... I don't understand. I don't understand most of the things in the movie. I don't understand why they have the 3 different types of ants that they just made up what they can do. Mm-hmm. Because, like, there's no way.
Yeah, there's an electricity conducting ant.
Yeah, there's an ant.
The fire ants are like builders or something.
They can build things? Like, what?
There's the biter ants, the carpenter ants. There's all these classifications that are great for heists in one way or another.
Yeah, it's like, why? Why didn't you explain any of that? It's just, you explain that they're there. You don't explain why ants can do this in this universe. Because it's so weird, because this is supposed to be the Marvel universe where things are very grounded. Can you imagine Ant-Man being in an episode of the Daredevil show?
No.
Can you just think about it?
I'm trying to imagine him trying to justify like controlling ants during like Infinity War or Civil War or something like that. And he's like, "Don't worry guys, I got this," and sends just a bunch of ants at Thanos or something.
Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, it's so useless.
Yeah, it is. It's only good for heists.
Yeah.
I guess. Which he does a couple. Which is basically what the movie is. It's just a bunch of heist
It's half a heist movie, half a Marvel movie. Montage. And yeah, excuse me, it's a... Okay,
no,
what can I divide this into?
No, I think it's good. Half training montage, half heist movie. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's learning how to use the ant powers, which he does insanely quick. And then,
let's talk about that briefly.
Okay.
Hope shows up. Hope is Hank's daughter. She talks to them. She's like, "We had weeks, now we have days. He doesn't know what he's doing, and blah, 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 blah. We need to get this shit figured out now." And then they go into a training montage for at least half an hour.
At least.
I would say half an hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Of just training and going into the Avengers facility, reconciling, just so much that's just too much. It goes fast, but it also feels like an eternity.
Yes, because nothing's happening.
Yeah, it's only supposed to be happening in the course of a day or two. And all of a sudden, he's mastered talking to ants. He's mastered hand-to-hand combat. He's mastered shrinking and everything. And it's...
Yeah.
No.
Just quickly. And on that time, Hank and Hope are reunited. So it's all quick, just in the moment. Yeah. Well, he masters everything. He has one conversation with Hope where it's so funny to me that it shows you the pacing of the movie. They resolve Hank and Hope's struggles in the same scene that they resolve Paul Rudd getting the power to control ants. Yeah. Just in the same car, the same 3-minute scene.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh man, now that she's fixed, we can just move right on to Ant-Man real quick, and we'll just fix him up.
This is taking too long.
We can move that penny.
We gotta move this along."
It's like, what is going on? It's so fast. But I wanted to say, I was talking to Liam about it during the movie, of how ridiculous it is. Hank Pym knows everything about Scott Lang and has him all figured out. And then, late in the movie, you realize the main villain, Darren Cross, knows everything about what Hank Pym is doing and everything about Scott Lang.
Yeah.
He knows him so well. He even knew he was obsessed with Scott Lang and got him to join. I don't know. I don't understand.
Convoluted.
Yeah, and he's able to get it through all these different ways, and now he knows about Scott Lang and he knows about his daughter.
Also, he planned to murder Hank Pym in the middle of his factory or science research facility after 2 cops just saw him on the way in.
Yeah.
It was a big public event he was holding.
Yeah, and he was just gonna murder Hank Pym
in the middle of this public event.
But you know what he wasn't gonna do it with? his death gun.
Yeah, his death ray.
He was just gonna use bullets to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if his plan was to because they don't go into it. Maybe it's like, oh, these were Hydra guys, and so, maybe it's the Hydra people who killed him. But no, that's not what, at all.
No.
Which, he just casually mentions Hydra and everyone's cool with it.
Yeah, it's just a name drop.
Yeah, it's like, what? It's like, they're a lot different than they used to be. Mm-hmm. I'm very confused because Hydra was underground for a really long time. What do you mean they're different than they used to be? It's not like they are this new company that's come around.
Yeah, there's so many inconsistencies in this movie, and we haven't even touched on the Ant-Man powers themselves.
No, and I feel like a million people probably have because they are glaringly flawed.
The comparison I made, and I think it's apt, is they're just playing Calvin Ball with the rules of the Ant-Man powers and the universe and just everything that's going on.
Yeah, they don't care.
Suffice it to say, it's just inconsistent.
They pretend
from
to care.
scene to scene.
They pretend to care a little bit and try to explain it and just you can punch because, you don't want to punch too hard and kill someone or whatever. It's like you have the same density because it's the same atoms, just you're going in between them, right? You're shortening the distance between the atoms. So what that would mean is that you have the same mass and the same density, but you would just be in a smaller area. So it makes sense when he falls through, when he's in the bathtub. It doesn't make sense that the water pushes him because he'd have the full weight of a man. So it doesn't make sense the water in the tub would be able to shove him over. But it does make sense when he falls out of the tub and he falls through the ceiling down below to that party. It's that makes sense, and he cracks, but it doesn't make sense that the weight of a full-grown man on a record wouldn't stop it. And then, this is the whole movie. That's the whole movie. The whole heist.
Yeah, it just goes on.
The whole movie
on.
is, this makes sense here with this, but this doesn't make sense.
And maybe
this makes sense here, but this doesn't. This doesn't
maybe
make sense.
we misunderstood something, but it's just, it's a mess.
No, it's just they get to do whatever they want. Sometimes when, in the scene with the Thomas the Train engine, they're able to just kind of knock it out of the way, and you notice it's a little toy. But when it gets bigger, it's a big, giant, beefy toy. So it just grew that much. It didn't increase the size between the atoms. It just got bigger and got more massive and destroyed the house and the car, which doesn't make any sense at all. It should have flown away in the wind like it was made of paper.
So how does that work in the comics then when Hank Pym becomes giant?
I don't think they tried to explain it in that way. It's not.
So it's less scientific in the comics then. It's just he grows and he shrinks.
Yeah, and stuff happens. Yeah, definitely. I am okay with that, actually. Yeah. I'm okay with totally just fine. Be oh, this is some science nonsense that does this and allows me to do it. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Don't try to explain it to me and then completely do the opposite of what you just explained to me in a movie. I don't care. I'll play along. I realize that Thor shouldn't be able to fly and control lightning and have a hammer that no one can pick up but him. I get that. I'm on board.
Well, Captain America can pick it up.
Sure. But I don't say that and then have, do something like, well, the Hulk's really strong, so he could probably pick it up, and then he picks it up. Stuff like that. Don't do that. Give me the rules, and then play by them. That's fine. If you're going to give me the rules. Or don't give me the rules, and I don't care. Mm-hmm. You just, if you want to say that he can shrink and do whatever he wants, because technology, whatever, right. We don't know how it works, or we do know how it works, and we don't want to explain it, just do it. Fine, do it. Don't try to explain it and then immediately contradict yourself. Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but going back to Civil War.
Okay.
Captain America is objectively the good guy.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of where the movie skews towards anyway. And that's where the comics go to. Iron Man becomes laughably evil or whatever in the comics. Not evil, but laughably not as relatable as Captain America.
Right.
But you can look at Age of Ultron and have that reaffirmed, because Tony's not worthy of picking up the hammer, but Captain America is. So objectively, Captain America is a worthy, good person. Mm-hmm. And there you have it. That's all I had to say.
Okay. I was wondering where you were going with that.
That was it.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. That's, okay.
But what defines worthiness? Do you think Doctor Doom could pick up the hammer?
No, I don't think Doctor Doom could, but here's a segment we like to go into. I also don't think that Raphael could.
Okay.
I
wouldn't either.
I don't.
But why do you specifically name Raphael?
Raphael's too volatile, too angry. I don't see him.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would argue that he could pick up the hammer.
I don't think he's worthy, right? I think he could get there. I think if any of the turtles could, it would be Raphael.
Why?
It's something about his heroic heart and determination.
His drive. His will.
All the other turtles are good. Mm-hmm. Maybe Leonardo could pick it up. Master Splinter definitely could pick up the hammer.
Do you think Raphael could get there because he's stumbled so much?
Yeah.
And so he knows he's gotten to the point where he realizes who he is, and he's fully confident in that.
I think.
Do you think that's why?
I think part of being worthy is the humbleness and thinking that you are unworthy. And since he stumbled and fallen so much, I think he really knows in himself, he would think that he's unworthy to lift it.
Right. But it would take a long time for him to get there. Like, this is an older, much more mature Raphael.
Definitely. Because you're talking about an Age of Ultron. I'm of the belief that Captain America 100% could lift the hammer.
Yes.
And that he chose not to show off in front of it. Mm-hmm. Everyone else at the party who was trying it, if they could have lifted it up, would have immediately been like, ah ha ha, I'm worthy. But that shows, that they're not worthy. That would be part of it. Some of their hubris gets in the way.
Right.
I feel like Raphael would be able to humble himself in a way. After much meditation.
Yeah, it would have to be a much older Raphael, though. Because I'm imagining a young Raphael trying to do it, and he's all...
at the beginning, definitely
all
not.
Cocky and just that's easy.
Yeah, but I think, later, once he grows a little bit, which he does, he will. But I think Master Splinter could definitely lift it.
I don't think Donnie would really care.
Yeah.
I think Mikey would do it as a joke, but he'd brush it off.
Yeah,
he wouldn't really care either. And I think Leo's just a little full of himself, and
he may be just a little too full of. But I don't know. He's a good leader.
Yeah, he would grow as a leader too.
He's a good leader. He might be able to pick it up.
I think eventually he'd be able to pick it up too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't like Leo, but I never hated Leo. I never disliked Leo.
He's my favorite. Because he's got swords.
Because he has swords.
Yeah,
swords are cool.
He's really cool. He doesn't use a blunt weapon like Donatello or, Michelangelo.
Yeah.
He just slices through robots with his swords.
Yeah.
And people sometimes.
Yeah.
Foot Clan in the comics.
In the comics.
Yeah.
Never in the cartoons.
Grittier. No. Never. And in the movies, they're not allowed to have weapons at all after the first one.
That being said, 2003 cartoon when they're in space and fighting aliens and
stuff.
Yeah,
they're fighting the Triceratops stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That cartoon was awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. Give me the rules and then follow them. And this movie is terrible at that.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really goofy, and it's really, really... It's not funny enough to cover for that.
Okay, do we have anything good to say about the movie?
It is somewhat funny. It's not funny enough to cover its flaws.
Right.
But it is very funny. The beginning of the movie, like I said, is incredible. It just keeps going downhill. I actually like Hank Pym as a character.
Yeah.
I think he's really good. His relationship with his daughter thing, they just move it along too fast. But, that does not take away from him as a character. And it really doesn't take away from from Hope either. She's not much of a character. They're just like, she did martial arts and...
Right. And maybe she becomes more interesting in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Maybe.
But that's not this movie.
But she's mostly there to... Which a lot of times writers like to use women as a way for the male character to grow. And that's oftentimes. And that's what it is. It's a way for Hank Pym to grow. And that's pretty much all she is. She's not very interesting. She could have been super interesting. But she's on the inside. The villain is not very good, though.
Yeah, the villain's boring.
But I think Hank Pym's pretty good. I like Paul Rudd. I like what he's on screen. And he actually gets to do stuff. I actually really like that. When he's
it might have been good if the movie was about him.
Yeah, and if there weren't so many ant sequences.
Yeah.
I like the fight between him and Falcon. I like that a lot.
Even though Falcon is the most boring Avenger.
Yeah, Falcon's pretty boring, but I do like the tie-in. It was a little unnecessary.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I did like it.
That was a fun scene.
Yes, so I thought that was pretty good. I liked how they used the Ant-Man suit in the actual fight scenes. It doesn't make any sense that Paul Rudd would be that good at it, but just getting rid of that idea, how they actually use it, and when he's going small and going big and getting in fights and fighting with people with guns and stuff, I actually think is very, very good. And when he fights Yellow Jacket and stuff,
right.
I think it's very cool. It getting rid of all the flaws of the universe and how they describe things, I really like that. It's so super cliche when he goes subatomic and then is able to just get out for no reason. There's no testing of it. There's no reason in his that he should have known to put this big disc in my belt and then that will give my suit enough power.
Again, back to the Calvin Ball idea.
Yeah, just
you can just do whatever.
Just do whatever. Yeah, but there's no reason for him to think that works. It wasn't some sort of oh, I'm an electrical engineer, so blah 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 blah. Techno babble that doesn't make any sense, which would be fine, but makes sense for my character to realize to do this. It was just oh, I'm desperate, so I'll try this. Hey, it worked.
Yeah, he just got the Enlargo disc.
Yeah. Hey, that works for some reason, so we're good.
And for some reason it didn't make him grow to infinity.
Yeah, I don't know. It just... Yeah.
It just happened to stop at his normal size.
Yeah, he was fun. Maybe he's an inch taller and we didn't notice.
Maybe,
we don't know.
I do like the idea of him becoming eternal, though. Eventually enveloping all of, reality in his mass.
Until Willem Dafoe shows up to stop him. That's a movie I want to see. So
you want to see Paul Rudd's Ant-Man as Galactus, more or less.
Yeah.
And have the true creator of the universe, Willem Dafoe show up and then eat Galactus.
I just want to see a great, just a talking scene. Just 45 minutes of Paul Rudd talking to Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And just they're in this endless void and they're just talking there.
Now, I do think that Willem Dafoe should come back to the Marvel Universe. I think he would make a great Celestial.
I think he'd make a great Venom because of his mouth.
He should be Dr. Doom.
That was none of it. That wasn't your idea or my idea when you said that. Just that was Celestial or Venom, but you said that
Yeah.
You said
I
that.
did. That was good, right?
Yeah. Okay. What if he was Carnage though?
Yeah, but they already got Woody Harrelson to be Carnage. And they put the goofiest, most curly wig on his head.
The wig from the Titans DC TV show for Starfire. It's the same wig.
The wig looks like he should be Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's good.
I'm looking forward to reviewing that one.
Yeah. It's on the list somewhere. Probably way down.
Yeah, it's way down. Carnage, Venom versus Carnage, or whatever they're gonna call it, will probably be out before then.
Yeah, probably. But what were we saying right before that? We were talking about
Willem Dafoe.
Oh yes, Willem Dafoe. I just want them to talk back and forth. Actually, what I want is Willem Dafoe to have a whole bunch just like 6 to 7 minute soliloquies, and then Paul Rudd to be like, "That's weird." It just turns to him, and it goes back.
Right, it eventually pans to Paul Rudd, and then it pans back.
Yeah, then it pans back, and then he gives another soliloquy.
Yeah,
just like over and over again. That's the whole movie.
I would watch.
It's just movie. Reaction shots of Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
like they don't even cast him really. They just they use his old footage from old movies, and they just do that.
And Willem Dafoe is just on like a soundstage.
Yeah. It's green screen though. It's like
no, not even. It's just like a black canvas.
Yeah, that's fine. I wanted him to be in a void.
He's just sitting on a stool.
He's in a black turtleneck.
He's wearing a beret.
I'm also thinking like a sleeveless black turtleneck. That is Willem Dafoe.
I wish they hadn't killed him off in John Wick.
Oh, yeah.
He would have been a great recurring character.
I need to watch that. I watched the second one, I think. I don't know
what happened.
John Wick killed a bunch of people.
I could go either way.
I think I watched the end of the first one.
Yeah, I think you saw the end of the first one, then watched most of the second one.
Yeah, but I want Willem Dafoe in every movie.
Yeah.
Have
you ever seen Boondock Saints?
No, I haven't.
It's really good.
But I want him to deliver every line. You think there's a video out there of him reading the entire script to the first Spider-Man movie? Just the entire script.
And just out loud?
Yeah, just trying to do the voices for the different characters.
He's like trying to be Tobey Maguire.
I feel like he could do it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he really could.
Mm-hmm. Has he ever been in a Tarantino movie?
I don't know. It seems...
I feel like he should.
It seems like he almost would have to be.
I don't think he has been.
At some point. I don't know.
I wish. Man.
Yeah. Well, maybe Tarantino's a little, threatened by him since he did create the universe and everything.
Yeah, it's a bit imposing.
He opened his mouth.
I understand
that. Everything came to
No, he unhinged his jaw.
Yeah.
He just opened his mouth.
He just opened his mouth. He did unhinge his jaw. You're right.
Let's not belittle it.
Yeah, that's true. I would never do such a thing on purpose. Yeah. So I don't remember why I was talking about that part of the movie.
Because we were talking about the subatomic and then getting big.
Yeah. We were trying to talk about good things about the movie.
Right.
That's right. And then I started saying a bad thing. Then we started talking about Willem Dafoe.
I thought the daughter was super cute.
Yeah, she was.
She was really fun.
She's good. I actually really like the whole family dynamic there of the cop he's not a bad guy at all.
Yeah.
He's just
just a dude trying to do his job.
Yeah, he's just a guy, and he's trying to protect his wife and daughter, and
I don't think they're married yet. I think
they not?
They're engaged.
Oh, they're engaged.
I believe.
Okay, well,
soon to be stepdaughter.
Right. So, he's just taking care of them. He's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really even show. It's not like Paul Rudd is trying to get her back or anything. Just spend time with his daughter.
Yeah. Also, he looks like a smaller. Who's the guy? What's the name of the brother of Raymond?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking too. I don't know what the guy's name is or the character's name.
Yeah, I would settle for the character, but I can't remember it all.
Dang it! Keep talking and I'll think about it.
Yeah. Anyway, he just looks like a smaller. Everybody loves Raymond's brother. Like, that's my impression. Is that good, right?
It's very good. That's all I was thinking the whole movie too.
Yeah,
Neither one of us said it to each other. That's really funny.
Like, that's just what he looks like.
That's just who he is.
It's great. Is that guy still alive? I haven't seen him in anything since.
I would guess so. The dad in that show is dead. And he played in Young Frankenstein. He played Frankenstein.
Yeah, he did.
That's a great role.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love that bit. Everything in that movie with the blind man who keeps pouring the hot soup on him.
We were talking. That's Mel Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about Mel Brooks during the movie too. We were talking about Spaceballs.
Yeah, because this movie is really goofy, but it's not in a Mel Brooks kind of way of where that's the point.
Yeah, it's not.
There are too many trying to be
tongue-in-cheek.
serious moments of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all, but it's goofy in a bad way, almost when it's not trying to be, but it is. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to gauge. It's hard to find the tone of it.
Like, we're always gonna go back and say Ragnarok was not a good movie, but at least its tone was consistent in its goofiness.
No, that was part of the problem.
Was it?
That on Asgard, the tone is completely different than the Trash Planet.
That's true.
But anyway, his name is
The
Robbie.
Trash Planet part is what I was thinking
Robert.
of, though.
Is his name.
It is. It's Robert.
Yeah, on Everybody Loves Raymond.
That's another good point. Evan just corrected me about Ragnarok. We will never remember half of what we said for the other movies. So we could be totally contradicting ourselves half of the time.
Yeah, we'll try not to. Yeah, go back to the thing where we reviewed it, because we'll remember better then. But, yeah. And, anyway, we're talking about...
Robert from Everybody Loves Raymond.
No, we moved on from that to Young Frankenstein.
Right.
The bit where they can't find their daughter and they're looking around for her and she's gone missing and she's going off to play with Frankenstein. And then they do the seesaw and he sits on the seesaw and shoots her through the air and shoots her through her window onto her bed. Kills me every single time. Oh, I love that movie. I love Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks. They're just so good together. You know they were roommates.
I did not know
in
that.
college.
No.
Yeah. And like
they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates. And yeah, they were, and so that's why they did movies together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to watch Blazing Saddles again.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Man, talking about Blazing Saddles during an Ant-Man review is that's next level.
So, Blazing Saddles being brought up. Do you think Ant-Man was racist?
Okay, so there are a bunch of black characters. Not a bunch. There are a handful of black characters, and none of them win anything at the end. By the end of the movie.
Well, Peaches, or whatever his name is in the prison, he won the fight, more or less.
Okay.
But it was a friendly kind of punching contest.
Okay, let's list out the black characters I remember. I mean, there are other races. There's Luis. He's Mexican.
Hispanic.
Let's just focus on... There's, the, like you said, Peach Boy in the prison. In the prison, which, black man in prison. But there is the thief guy who's also a rapper. Thing? What's his thing?
He's just there.
Because they're like, oh yeah, and what do you do? I'm Dave. And I guess that was enough.
Yeah.
For him. So
he's there like Ludacris is in...
Luda!
He's there like Ludacris is in Fast and Furious movies. That's Ludacris,
I thought you were going to say like Ludacris is in Baby by Justin Bieber. He's there, but no one remembers.
I'm pretty sure it's Luda in Fast and Furious. If it's not, then I'm the one who's racist.
That's The Rock.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
No. Okay, so there's him. He doesn't do much. And he doesn't... I guess he succeeds, kind of. Not really. Yeah. Like, he's part of that heist, but he doesn't get anything out of it.
He plays second string to a white man so much, though.
Yeah, a Russian man.
A Russian guy. There's a black prison guy in the jail cell that Scott is held in for a little bit. He shows up.
Prison guy?
Yeah. He's the one who he sees that Scott's not in his prison cell anymore.
Oh, yeah, the cop. The other cop that's with Robert's partner.
Yeah. Yeah,
Robert is a cop on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He is. That is just him. Maybe it was him. We didn't notice.
Yeah, maybe
let me rub my eyes real fast
and
look.
And lost weight.
So
there's a black cop. That's good.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
But he fails.
He fails.
He fails really hard.
The cops are comically bad. We did talk about that a little bit.
The cops are bad, and he does not win anything at the end.
Falcon loses. And
I think, and then there was that family of black there's that black family that they just they lost their barbecue.
Yeah, they just get terrorized by a white man.
Yeah, by 2 white men.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cops show up immediately to the black people's house. I think that's pretty racist. Because for some reason, I don't understand this. They're in the helicopter fighting each other, and then they drop out of the helicopter in a briefcase, land in a swimming pool. It could have landed anywhere. I don't know why they landed in a swimming pool. They land in a swimming pool, and immediately the cops show up.
Yeah.
Those cops.
Yeah.
The ones that have been chasing.
They were chased. Now, there was a brief scene like, there it is, follow that helicopter, but still, I think they'd continue following the helicopter rather...
And not notice that a briefcase dropped
rather than
out.
a black briefcase in the middle of the night fell in some residential area.
Yeah, and then they immediately go... That's what I'm saying. It is racist because they go immediately to the black people's house, and they immediately assume...
So, is Ant-Man racist?
I think Ant-Man...
Kind of sounds like Ant-Man is racist.
It's very racist. Yeah.
Now, the character isn't.
No. Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd might be, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, we haven't used his character name once. I almost said once, then corrected myself.
Yeah, we have. We've said Scott a few times.
Yeah, well, SC, Scott Calvin, that's also Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
You didn't think about that. Yeah, so it is definitely racist against black people.
Yeah.
I think Louise is in a pretty good light, except that he's a criminal. So
yeah.
You know what? Actually, it's probably racist against Hispanic people too.
Yep.
So the movie's just racist
it's just
overall.
A straight
Don't
up
go watch the
racism.
movie.
Do not watch this.
Do
not support Marvel.
Don't. Yeah.
Please.
Don't.
Just stop.
Black Panther was not enough. Maybe. I don't know if it's racist or not yet.
Yeah, we haven't reviewed it
There's
yet.
not been a roommate's review on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
the
it's
deciding
racist.
factor.
Yeah. The one and only. Okay.
How was the Stan Lee cameo?
They could have done way more with it.
I still thought it was pretty good, though.
It was good, but it was like they'd already done that bit with everyone else in the movie. I feel like they should have given him more lines because it would have been funnier to see him do more in that way.
Yeah.
I feel like it was good, but it wasn't like spectacular.
Okay, but where's it rank? That's what matters.
We're gonna say 5. I don't know what any of the other ones are, but yeah, right between 6 and
No.
4.
That's not how this works.
Yeah, well, it is.
You can't go pulling an Ant-Man on the rules of the Stan Lee cameo.
I'm going subatomic, and I'm saying that it's between 5 and 6.
I want to say like 4.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with that.
All right.
Just as long as it doesn't beat Captain Marvel. And it's certainly not better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, definitely not.
It's not better than Deadpool even, or it's barely better than Blade. It's probably better than the Avengers ones, besides Age of Ultron. We don't rank.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy with putting it at 4.
I'm gonna stay with 6, and we'll just meet in the middle at 5. I don't know what any of the other movies are around.
Them's not the rules. I'm saying 4, and that's where it's going.
Okay, well,
I caved on our Stan Lee for Captain Marvel, so
yeah. Oh, is this what we're doing now?
Yeah.
We're going to have like a debt system,
yeah,
and now
yeah.
you get to make the next call on where
that's what our reviews are based on. All right, so
okay.
you owe me this one.
All right, well then, no, we'll have to fight this out. We'll have to arm wrestle for it.
All right,
but yeah, it wasn't too special.
Mm-hmm.
What other questions do we have?
Who should have played Paul Rudd?
I was thinking it would have been hilarious if you just get rid of all of his lines and replace him with Rowan Atkinson.
It's a lot better than anything I had.
And he just
Is he just playing Mr. Bean?
He's just Mr. Bean. Yeah, he just only reaction shots. He never says a line in the movie. Would have been way, way better. Oh my gosh. It would have been incredible.
Wow.
You can easily imagine it too. Because just like they have the long conversation and they pan over to Mr. Bean and he just makes like a confused face. Or like, yeah, just like, or he's like just crying. Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Oh, that's really good. No, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I could top a different like actor.
Yeah,
so
I don't think
keep...
none of the other characters. I mean, despite the fact that they were way more important than Paul Rudd, I don't think the rest of them really deserve a
Hank
recasting.
Pym maybe.
Yeah, and hope we'll get one in Ant-Man and the Wasp. But
who's a very, very, just like when you think of angry actor, just like shouting angry kind of, mean person. Can you think of anybody that would just be
bad kind of person? Because I thought of Jason Statham immediately.
Just like shouting. Yeah, and I think someone who's got like the controlled rage, I think that would have made a very good Hank Pym. Just anyone like Jason Statham or I'm trying to think of someone.
The guy who plays the Punisher.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the control rage. I'm just like, always shouting.
Always shouting.
That's what I'm thinking, like almost like Whiplash levels of like J.K. Simmons. Yeah. Just like where it feels like he hates you. Like, okay, there's not going to be anyone better than J.K. Simmons, so we're just going to put J.K. Simmons as...
I'm sure this is like the third time we've casted him.
Probably. And he just like... But you just need that... Someone who can just look...
disappointed.
Yeah, when you look into him, it looks like they hate you.
Yeah.
He does that so well.
Yeah.
Of just instantly.
I'm cool with that.
Just like, yeah. So I think that would be really good.
Just imagine J.K. Simmons and Rowan Atkinson working together.
Oh my gosh. That would be a much better movie.
Man, what a movie.
Oh my gosh. So, I don't know if we have much more to talk about.
Yeah, I think we're probably ready for the verdict then.
Yeah, this is not... this movie is worse than I remember it being. It's not the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I don't think it was
it's
a bad movie.
It's just...
But it's not very good.
There's so much you could do with a... Like... But the last time I saw it, there was no Black Panther or Homecoming or Doctor Strange or Captain Marvel. These are all, very, very good solo films, right?
Yeah.
So these are... They go into the character well enough, and you can actually feel their part in the MCU. This doesn't feel like that.
No.
It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like it wanted to be a comedy, which it makes sense that if Edgar Wright wrote the story, then he tried to write it as a comedy, and whoever directed it tried to direct it as a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And they just kind of clash.
There was just a disconnect.
To where things are odd, and they don't quite work well together. Let me write down my number. I don't want to say, like, Deadpool is a straight comedy, and I think it does that better. But, like, I'm thinking around the same level. Alright, I've got my score. What do you got?
I got my score. Ooh, that's rare. I ranked it lower than Evan ranked it.
That happens. That
happens.
A lot.
Not as often, though. I feel like it generally ranked them a little higher.
Yeah, Liam ranks it as 67.
Evan gave it a 71.
Yeah. And I was thinking maybe even lower than that. If it comes to, like, deciding between that and, say, like, Deadpool or...
Yeah.
Spider-Man
my
3
original
even, it's like, it's not.
Yeah, my original thought was to put it in the 70s somewhere, but the more we talked about it, the more I got talked down.
Yeah, here's the thing. The average of 71 and
69, which means it's going to tie with something.
No, it's not. It's not going to tie.
I thought we both gave something 69
no,
once.
No,
that was just me.
Yeah, you gave it... What movie was that? I don't remember. Some movie you gave it 69, probably Spider-Man 3, and I gave it 70. So it's going to be right underneath probably Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But right now we're at 69, which made the movie funnier.
Unfortunately makes it the perfect movie.
Yeah, it is the perfect movie.
Yeah.
It can only be topped if we both give it a 69.
Right. Which could happen in the future,
it
but
could happen.
It seems unlikely.
It seems very unlikely.
For something to just organically happen like that.
So, yeah, it's actually, going back to it, it's not as good as I remember. I don't remember being blown away by it or anything.
Right, but I remember enjoying it.
Yeah,
and
it was
thinking,
just...
hey, that was a fun movie.
Yeah, mostly it was just like, when is it going to end?
Yeah.
This is kind of...
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Blade, but it had that same kind of... Oh man, this is
gonna happen.
This is dragging on, and like we could remember these scenes were coming, but they still haven't. Like, man, this is so much movie left.
Yeah, and it just fairly entertaining. I think Paul Rudd, if they gave him more to do, could carry maybe better.
Yeah.
If they actually tried to actually hone it in as a comedy, it would work better.
Right.
Because I love Paul Rudd in I like him in Anchorman. Mm-hmm. I like him in his bit on Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
he's
but
one of the
none of
characters.
those is he the main character.
He's not the main character, and he's strictly funny.
Yeah.
So it's just like...
He works in that context.
Yeah, he's very good at the improv kind of humor thing. And he's not so... Well, I don't know. I haven't seen him be good as a lead man. And they just gave him pretty much nothing to go off of.
Yeah. So
69.
Perfect movie.
Nice.
That is the sex number.
Yep. So, yeah. Should you go watch it? No, because it's racist.
It's racist.
Were you not listening?
Are
really?
you racist?
Did you even entertain that thought? Thought?